In this video, we take you on a shark adventure you won't forget, showing you the 3 ways to dive the pass and ending with a crazy night dive feeding frenzy. All right, exciting morning. Sailing Red Seas asked if we wanted to do a dive today. This will be the first time in 20 years, well, almost 20 years since I've been here. Look at this. Here we are at the South Pass. We did 6 or 7, looks like dives here back in 2008.
Down there, there's like 3 large sand strips in a row. So essentially, once you find one of those, if you want to stay on the sand, you just follow that and hop over to the next one to your right, and you'll be here before you know it.
Diving the wall of sharks is why most people come to the South Pass. It's an epic drift dive and the only place in the world to interact with the largest school of gray reef sharks, mixed with some oceanic blacktips and some mean-looking white-tip reef sharks. And for that reason, the South Pass has been named a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. The pass is teeming with life as a massive amount of water enters and leaves the atoll about every 6 hours and passes through a narrow canyon only 96 feet deep and about 100 feet wide. Protected from fishing, some 300 to 700 gray reef sharks call the pass their home. They do not pose a threat to humans, and we found them to be quite inquisitive. However, if there's food in the water, the sharks will become very active and aggressive. This typically happens at night. Their expected lifespan is about 25 years, so realistically, some of these sharks could have been the same ones I dove with back in 2008. That is just mind-blowing. Gray reef sharks hunt during the night and rest during the day, but unlike mammals, they do not sleep. During the day, they enter their resting phase, seen by a more rigid, flat body posture. The sharks use the current to move in circular patterns, allowing oxygen-rich water to flow over their gills. While they rest, the beautiful tropical fish explore the reef and enjoy their freedom. That is, until sunset, when their lives depend upon their finding a secure hiding spot. We were truly blown away by the sea life found as we drifted through the different underwater neighborhoods in the South Pass.
Thank you. Perfect. Man, that's
I just want to go straight back in.
love it.
So what, 5 sharks? 7? 3. How many zeros come after that?
One of them is where Bob just.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So this morning we are prepping for a new way of diving since we don't have Red Seas with us. Seeing that we're on our own, here's the Admiral. She's pulling out a tank. She's keeping those arms super strong. Flex force, baby. Yeah.
So we're setting up the gear really early this morning because it's impossible to determine the tides here. It's really complicated, I think, because it's a narrow pass and Fakarava is so big with no barrier islands on the south side of it that the water just comes in constantly, so you just never know how to adjust the normal tide to the level of the water. So the way we do it is we just watch for when the dive boats pass us, and we have the dinghy all ready, we've got the gear all ready, and as soon as the dive boats start to pass us, then we just head out immediately. They always time it so that there's an incoming tide. We never want to dive on an outgoing tide because it could be really dangerous if you're floating out into the ocean. What if your dinghy doesn't start? What if you can't be found? You're in big trouble. So we always dive the incoming tides to add a margin of safety to our diving.
They're going to try to hit it at slack tide when there's no current at all. And that's the best. Why? Because you don't have to fight it. You don't have to burn air. It adds extra risk and shortens your dive. So we rely on these guys, and they're pretty much right all the time.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an exciting dive today because we are on our own, which means we have no surface dinghy support. So today we're going to try and time it so that we leave our dinghy at the mooring ball. We go down to where the sharks are, which is basically just straight out into the canyon from the dinghy. And then we do a slow dive back to the surface, and we will hopefully come up right before the town dock, because right next to the town dock is a break in the reef, which we hopefully will swim over and get to the sandy patch. And then one of us will hold the gear while the other person walks to the pass, swims out to the dinghy, and then brings the dinghy around to the break in the pass where the person who's left with the gear is going to swim out, and we'll meet there at the dinghy and put our gear back on board. What could go wrong?
It's really good to be independent and to learn these techniques, because that means you're not relying on anybody and you can dive the pass successfully.
And you're not paying $110 every time you dive.
Do it on your own every day and do it on the cheap. And we hope that this will be really helpful for you.
All right.
Hey guys, if you like this kind of great information, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share this. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments, please ask us some questions and consider joining our Patreon group. We love our patrons and our viewers. Thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate you watching.
Alright, the dinghy's out there. Brown's gonna have to swim out to it. We ended up with our gear here in the little village. Brown has managed to get out to the dinghy. Alright, another great morning. We are going diving, and this one is going to be super exciting because we're going to do the full drift dive today. We have a luxury that we normally don't have, which is another surface dinghy support. In Zoomax, thank you Zoomax, Anna's going to snorkel above us while we do the dive, so we really don't have to think about where we end up. But the plan is that we're going all the way through the right fork and then into the shallow areas where she'll pick us up. So we're really excited about it because we haven't done the full drift dive, and that means we get to see under the docks, which have incredible fish life.
Well, and this is all about maximizing your efforts. The way that the dive works, you can only do this once a day because of the flow of the current and the amount of nitrogen that's built up in your system.
Because they're super deep dives.
Yeah, they are deep, and you're going to be banging on the deco limits. So you really want to make the most out of it, and that's why we're giving you this information, so you can stretch that dive out as long as possible.
Good morning! Yoo-hoo! Have a good dive!
And the cool thing about this dive is that there's various stages to this dive. The first stage being going out to see the sharks, and then kind of coming back up the wall once you hit deco. going to the next wave of sharks, and then coming up the wall again, further up to the surface where you see the Napoleon wrasse, you see all kinds of other fish,
Schools of
of fish. And then you kind of, this is where we would normally end the dive, but then you kind of drift back a little bit underneath some of the other docks where there's tons of fish. I've never seen so many yellowfin snapper in my life under one dock. And then the current starts picking up. And then when you're ready, you can let go and fly. And you see all kinds of other schools of fish. You start hitting some super healthy coral formations that are more shallow. And as you get more shallow, the current picks up because it has to travel at a faster rate in order to get all that water flow through that more shallow area. And literally, it just blows you back toward where you're anchored, and then you find this sandy spot that you can come up. And from there, you can just walk back on the island to the dinghy.
Yeah, if you
while
don't have-
somebody else holds all the equipment.
If you don't have the support.
Wow, that was so awesome. I can't believe it.
It works out really well, so you can maximize all the joy on this one time a day dive.
Oh, you guys are so sweet to do this. Thank you.
Oh, it was another great dive. So
more current than normal.
I know we've gone at 8 in the morning every single day, and it's been more and more current every morning.
Thank goodness we went out with that first boat.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, we came all the way around this corner and then stopped up in the shallows there. You could always just climb up on shore and then walk across the island back to your boat. That would easily work. I wish we would have known this sooner. This last part is so cool. It's like the magic carpet.
I know, just like it's a whole nother aspect.
We are
Amazing.
being pushed back by the current. I would say probably 2 knots back to our boat. This is
Whoa,
incredible. Flying.
This is such a cool spot.
Oh, the sun's going down, which means it's almost time to go. Big night ahead of us. Woo-hoo-hoo. Ready?
Ready as I'm gonna be. Ready to get eaten by a shark?
It's time to go diving.
Oh man, this is gonna be the dive of dives.
We're doing a night dive.
It's time to watch our toothy friends on the fish. Hopefully not us.
And thankfully, we're not the only ones stupid enough to do this.
That's right. We've got other stupid people to do it with us.
We're in good company.
Yeah.
All right, time to get ready. Night dives are always high adrenaline adventures. You drop into pitch black water with only a small beam of light to expose what's happening in front of you, while doing your best to push out of your mind the activity all around you that you just can't see. But here it's 1,000 times more adventurous, knowing that 700 sharks will be hunting all around you, using your flashlight beam to assist them in finding their dinner. To do this dive takes a lot of courage and a bit of crazy. And thankfully, our friends on Noxoma were equally excited for this unique experience. Their professional camera with 2 bright lights made a huge dent in the darkness. This created more of a feeding frenzy and provided all 4 of us a front row seat. During the 45-minute dive, there was only 1 millisecond where I thought, oh, this is really not good. A small school of fish foolishly swam into the light, igniting a feeding frenzy. One particular fish, fighting for his life, swam into the reef trying to hide, but realized it was not safe, so he swam at full speed right over my head. Before I could even register what was happening, half a dozen sharks were already flying past me, and the chase was almost over before the oh no thought had even been formed in my head. But it took a long time for my heart rate to return back to normal. This was certainly a dive we would never forget. We are back. We made it. That was a super cool dive.
I was beginning to wonder while we were down there.
Man.
They got a little frisky.
Were you ever scared?
There were times when I felt a little apprehensive. Yeah.
The only time I felt apprehensive was when that one little fish
Came
school of
toward
fish-
us. Brought the sharks with
and
him.
the sharks all started following it. It was like a split second. I didn't really have much time to worry. So,
Totally, it was exciting. The conditions were perfect.
oh, the conditions were absolutely
The
perfect.
time,
Having
current,
Bruce's light.
it was just meant to be done, and we did it.
Yeah, night dives are really intense.
I
though.
did not get bumped by a shark. I'm
I
thankful
didn't
for
either.
that.
But Bruce had to knock a couple off.
Yeah, he did.
With all those lights that he had, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised.
I know.
It was a very cool experience.
It was.
Just kind of put the cap on everything that we've done here so far.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so glad we came here.
Yeah.
We've gotten a lot of diving in.
All right, let's get something to eat.
Let's do it.